Off and running, welcome into another edition of Musso at the Box, presented by Gauntlet Light Installers. LSU, they travel to Auburn, just on the cusp of a top 10 series. This will punctuate a 7-game road trip for the Tigers. They're 4-0 on that trip so far. A series win here would go a long, long way, but it will not be easy. This is a doozy to wrap up this road trip and to wrap up the first half of SEC play. Auburn is a team that is going to make you earn everything. Over the next 30 or so minutes, we'll take a good hard look at Butch Thompson's crew, a program that has had plenty of success against Jay Johnson so far in his first 3 years at the helm here in Baton Rouge. We'll go through an overview, our pitching matchups, all players to watch, keys to victory, a series prediction. Kind of like last week, I still haven't totally decided, so I'm kind of going to make my decision as we have the conversation here today, but I'm fired up to do so with all of you. Yes, it looks a little bit different, a few technical difficulties, but we're pushing through and hope to have those resolved here in the near future. Smash the like button if you have not already. Get subscribed up to the podcast, the YouTube channel, and on your favorite podcast app. Just search Musso at the Box. That is greatly appreciated. You can follow me on social media as well, Twitter X, Musso Matthew. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, let's go ahead and dive right in. Overview of the Auburn Tigers. Butch Thompson squad comes in 23-10, 6-6 in the SEC. That record can be a bit deceiving. While they are 6-6, Auburn has lost just one weekend out of 4 so far. They took 2 out of 3 from Vanderbilt, went on the road and took 2 out of 3 from Kentucky, got swept on the road at Georgia, and then came back home a weekend ago to take 2 out of 3 against a very, very formidable Alabama team. So they bring a 6-6 record in, but they are 3-1 in conference series so far. Their real test at Georgia, kind of failed that one, but another big one at home against Bama, they passed that one. This is a scrappy club, and I say that with the utmost respect, and we'll get into why. And there are a few things that Auburn does that I think is going to make this weekend very, very difficult for LSU. Furthermore, Auburn 3-4 as a ball club so far on the season. They have struck out just 208 times in 1,104 at-bats. That is the best mark in the Southeastern Conference. Auburn is the toughest team to strike out in the league. On the mound, it's been a bit of a revolving door in their Sunday spot. They're going to have a second freshman probably take the helm there again this weekend. A 4.72 ERA overall as a squad, but they are all over that strike zone. Just 115 walks issued by this Auburn pitching staff, and they field 980 as a club. You compare that to LSU. The Tigers enter this ball game, or into this series, I should say, 31-3, 10-2 in the SEC. 328 team batting average for LSU, a 3.40 team ERA, and LSU fields 978. So you can look at this and see pretty evenly matched. LSU might have a little bit more there overall at the plate, maybe a little bit more there as well overall on the mound. So advantage should lie with LSU. But again, certain things that Auburn does that we will get into here momentarily make them tough to deal with. This is a team that has been extremely good in one-run ball games. Auburn, 6 wins this season by 1 run, 9 wins over ranked opponents, 4 of those wins against ranked opponents on the road. So I don't really know how much more I can lay out just in an overview to tell you how good I think Auburn is. I think this is a very, very good club that will make life difficult for 3 games against LSU. You add in the atmosphere, which is going to be far and away better than what you saw in Norman, Oklahoma a week ago. They're going to pack it out there at Plainsman Park. You have a really odd dimensions with that field. You have the big War Eagle wall in left. It's like 315 down the line, but at one point it's 335. The deepest part of their ballpark isn't straightaway center field. It's that left center field gap that kind of creates the angles right by the scoreboard. So it's a funky place to go play baseball, and that's something that LSU will absolutely have to deal with here as well. Auburn has won 2 out of the 3 series against Jay Johnson so far in his 3 years at the helm. One of those on the Plains, that was in 2023. Yeah, that team. And then the other one was at the box. LSU, with the help of a walk-off in game number 2 a year ago, finally took one off of Auburn. They are much, much improved than they were from a year ago when they were the worst team in the SEC. They have hit the transfer portal very hard. They have brought in an elite signing class where freshmen are contributing up and down the lineup and on the mound that we will talk about plenty here for Auburn. Butch Thompson has rebuilt it over there. And this is a team that has eyes on the postseason, and not just eyes on the postseason, but potentially playing the postseason at home, at least through the first round. Very, very worthy opponent that LSU will face. Okay, that completes your overview of the Auburn Tigers. Let's go ahead. Let's dig in a little bit deeper. And for there, we will start, as always, with our pitching matchups. You'll see a very familiar face on Friday night. That will be former LSU pitcher, righty, Sam Dutton. Dutton has filled into Auburn's Friday night role quite nicely. And, you know, I'm very happy for Sam Dutton in that role. Y'all know, if y'all have listened to the show through any length of time, that he was at LSU, so in the last 3 years, I was a big fan of Sam Dutton. And why? Because he throws strikes, and it's 4 pitches, and he's got a little bit more on the fastball than you'd expect looking at his stature. The issue for Dutton, always at LSU, was the quality of that strike. Sam would pound the zone. I mean, he threw 64% strikes for his career at LSU. He's right around there again at Auburn. And the issue again at LSU, though, was the quality of the strike from Sam Dutton. It wasn't always in the right spot. He'd get hit a lot. Like, he would regularly have an average against over 300 or just below in his time at LSU, and it made it hard for him to get some innings consistently. But that's a guy that, as a freshman, served as a spot starter for you. He started 2 regional final games for LSU. He had a lot of success. He pitched in Omaha on the championship team, and now he's really been able to take his game to the next level. Sam Dutton, 9 appearances, 9 starts. He is 4-2 with an ERA of 2.66 in a Friday night role in the SEC. Pitched very, very well in that game against Georgia. That lineup that Georgia possesses, here were Sam Dutton's numbers on that Friday night. He went 4 1/3, gave up the 4 earned, but 2 walks, 7 punch-outs. So he got them into the 5th inning, and ultimately that was the lone game that Auburn lost in that series. That was the first game, and Auburn lost it. Sorry, they got swept. I'm thinking of a different weekend. But Dutton kept them in the game. Auburn lost that one 4-1. Their offense just couldn't get going, which has kind of been an oddity. So Dutton, 4-2, a 2.66 ERA, 44 innings pitched. He has walked just 10 and punched out 51. Here's the big one, the opponent hitting just 258 off of Sam Dutton. You'll see a fastball in the low to mid 90s. He might bump the 95, but more often than not, it'll sit 92, 94. You have the changeup, the slider, and the big overhand curveball in the high 70s. He's really taken advantage of his opportunity. But I will say this, if there is a team that is going to know Sam Dutton, obviously it is LSU. Nate Yeske coached him for a season. He knows tendencies. Jay Johnson will know tendencies and how to attack that offensively. It creates a very fascinating matchup. And it's not necessarily the same for Dutton, because a lot of the guys in the lineup that he pitched behind a year ago aren't necessarily there. Chris Stanfield wasn't on LSU's team. Danny Dickinson, he's never faced him. He's never faced Tanner Reeves, right? There are some guys mixed in that lineup that this looks very different. Now, yeah, you have Bear Jones and Josh Pearson and Jake Brown and guys like that. But again, then there's Derek Curiel. He's never faced that guy at the top of the lineup. So I would, if you're looking at, okay, who does past experience favor? I would say that it does indeed favor LSU. Of course, he will be opposed by Cade Anderson. Anderson coming off the complete game shutout where he threw 135 pitches. He is 6-0 in 8 starts so far this year with a 2.85 ERA, 47 1/3 innings pitched, 12 walks, 75 punch-outs. 75 punch-outs have him second in the Southeastern Conference and top 5 in America. The opponent hits just 211 off of Cade Anderson. What's going to be interesting to see is how he bounces back from the complete game shutout in 135 pitches. Now, look, he has an extra day rest, and I think that's absolutely massive for Cade Anderson. I'm expecting him to go out there and be at full strength, be well rested. LSU takes incredibly great care of their arms and the recovery aspect of it. They've brought Cade Anderson along perfectly so far this year. So I'm expecting normal Cade Anderson, but it is something to watch. If the velo's there where it should be, if he's as sharp as he normally is, just something to watch. One thing for sure, though, he's going to give you his best, and he's going to grit through all of it with or without his best stuff. Game number 2 for Auburn. Familiar name, but not from his time on the Plains. Look at that. That rhymed. That will be lefty Cade Fisher. You might remember his name. He started his career at Florida, had an incredible freshman season, was freshman All-America, pitched against LSU in Omaha that year out of the bullpen, moved into a starting role for Florida a year ago, and it did not go well for Cade Fisher. Ultimately, would move back to the bullpen, has pitched in Omaha the last 2 years. This is a veteran arm. They've used him very differently than I would expect. But Fisher's numbers are better than a year ago. So a year ago at Florida, his second season, he had an ERA over 7. You look at him so far this season, back into a starting role. He has no decisions, but an ERA of 4.43 in 7 starts, 20 and a third innings. See, that's the caveat. We're going to talk about that in a moment. 17 walks, 25 strikeouts. So the 17 walks have been a bit of a problem for him. But when he's in the zone, he's awesome. The opponent hitting just 206. For Fisher, it's a big, tall lefty, 6'3", 205, kind of a 3/4 delivery you'll see from him. Fastball, 89, 92 in that range. Backs it up with a slider and a changeup. The changeup more to right-handed hitters. The slider more to lefties. His longest outing on the year is 4 innings. His highest pitch count on the year is 75. They are not extending him. It's weird to say they're using him much more as an opener, but when you look at his career in a starting role at Florida, he struggled. Out of the bullpen, he was very good. So it's okay, let's go out there. You can get him out there to start, get your team off to a good start, maximize it, and if he gets you through 4 innings, you feel great. Because Auburn uses their bullpen in a very interesting way. And we'll talk about that here momentarily when we dive a little deeper on that. But Fisher, don't expect him to go deep. The 7 starts, no decisions, just 20 innings. The 17 walks are the thing to watch. How much can he pound the strike zone? For what it's worth, he had a really, really, really good outing a week ago against Alabama. In that game against the Tide, Fisher went 3 innings. He gave up just 2 runs, kept the walk total low, and punched out 68 pitches. So, I mean, that's what you're looking for out of him if you're Auburn. That has been a philosophy that has worked for them the majority of this season because, again, he's been in that number 2 spot all year long. For LSU, it will be Anthony Ianson. For Ianson, coming off of 5 2/3, man, I really wanted to see him get through that 6th inning, but he was awesome. He got you through the lineup 2.5 times against Oklahoma. The last 2 weeks, he's really been mixing his pitches incredibly well. That's what you hope to see continue when you're watching Anthony Ianson. That is 2 really good starts in a row. Here goes another one on the road against a much better lineup than he faced a week ago. Can he mix the pitches? How's that feel for the curveball early in the game? Because what you're seeing is how much that really sets up everything else that Anthony Ianson likes to do. So that will be something to watch here in his next start. It will be his 9th. He is also 5-0, an ERA of 3.3, 66 strikeouts and 42 1/3 to just the 15 walks, and the opponent hits just 219 off of Anthony Ianson. It's been one of his great strengths. He's been in the zone a lot. And when he's mixing, he is incredibly tough to hit. I'm looking for him to just take the next step. He's been awesome the last 2 weeks. Continue on that consistent track and be the solid number 2, the solid to great number 2 that we all think you are. And that, I mean, a lot of us have been talking about really for the majority of the season. Sunday, game 3 is where this gets interesting from a perspective for Auburn. They have had 2 freshmen in that role. Christian Chatterton started in that role for Auburn this season. It went really rough when he got into SEC play, and he has since been kicked down into the midweek. He started the midweek. He threw 62 pitches. You likely will not see him. Who you likely will see is another freshman, righty, Andreas Alvarez. 4-pitch guy, fastball in the low 90s. He'll back that up with a slider, changeup, and a curveball. Made his first weekend start in conference play against Alabama a week ago on Sunday. And in that one, only got you through 2 2/3, but the first 2 were really good. The wheels kind of fell off on him later in that outing. He would give up the 3 earned. He got a no decision in that ball game. We'll see how they extend him. But overall in the year, 8 appearances and 4 starts, a 7.5 ERA, 24 innings pitched, 10 walks, 21 punchouts. The opponent is hitting .295. You hold the advantage from a starting pitching standpoint on Sunday. Of course, LSU is going to send Chase Shores out there. Huge step in the right direction for him a week ago against Oklahoma, and that's what you're looking for again. It looks a lot crisper for Shores here as he's been going along. 5-1, a 4.6 ERA in 8 starts, 18 walks, 39 punchouts. The opponent hitting .287. All of that has come down. The walks, he still needs to get that in check a little bit, but the batting average against is coming down, which shows the crispness and the firming up of his stuff, which we've been waiting to see. And we said it was going to take some time as he experienced things that he hadn't experienced before. He's been trending in the right direction the last 2 weeks. Same thing for Ianson. You're looking for him to just, the arrow to keep going up, for Chase Shores. Talked about Auburn's pitching and how they use it a little different. You can kind of see right there. I mean, neither your Sunday nor your Saturday guy got you through 4 innings a week ago. And Cade Fisher hasn't gotten you through 5 all season long. His longest outing is 4 innings, as we mentioned. Auburn, outside of Dutton's the guy they count on extending for them. But outside of him, what they like to do is they try to use 2 guys to get you through what a starter normally would, to get you through 5, to get you through 6, sometimes even 7 innings. The issue is there's only a handful of guys that can really do that for them on this staff. Make no mistake about it, Auburn uses their pitching staff. Boy, do they. But there's only a handful of guys who they really trust to extend. Carson Myers is one of them. Lefty, senior, not going to blow you away. Low 90s fastball, 89, 92 in that range. Has a really, really good breaking ball, though, from the left side and has served plenty of different roles. He is second on this team in appearances with 11. But again, it's the 25 innings. He can extend. That is a guy they will go to first out of the bullpen after a starter, kind of falters if the game is close. He also has 3 saves at the back end where he's come in and extended late in the game. That's the other thing that they will do. Depending on where the game sits, they might bring in somebody to bridge after the starter, try to take the lead, use their offense, then get to Myers or a guy like Parker Carlson, who we'll talk about here momentarily, at the back end of the bullpen. But Cam Myers is one of those guys to look out for first out if they're in a position to really kind of choke the game away and use him to get you what a starter normally would compared with, your opener. Cam Tilley is another one. Big righty. He's going to be, 93, 94. Another good breaking ball out of this Auburn bullpen. 22 in a 3rd innings pitched. So that's a guy who they trust to extend. He's really tough to deal with. The opponent's hitting just 156, and he pounds the strike zone with just 10 walks in those 22-plus innings. That's a guy to keep an eye on there. He's regularly gone, 3 2/3, 4 innings out of the pen for Auburn. We mentioned Parker Carlson. He is another one, 18 innings. He also has a save at the back end of the bullpen. 10 appearances, so right there in lockstep. A sub-200 batting average against. Tough to deal with is Carlson. Griffin Graves, another lefty for Auburn. They've used him a little bit more sparingly, but it's a low 90s fastball, 90, 92 in that regard. And And he can be effective. Had a great outing against Alabama last Sunday. Closed that game out, as a matter of fact. Well, I shouldn't say close it out. He bridged kind of the middle innings, and then they got to Ryan Hetzler. And Ryan Hetzler is a guy who they really favor more towards the back end. We mentioned Carson Myers for that potential, but he's going to be much more in an extending role. If I had to pick a true closer for this Auburn team, it would be Ryan Hetzler, righty. Fastball, not overpowering, low 90s, might bump a 94 every now and then. But it's, again, for him, it's the breaking ball. There's some really good off-speed and breaking balls on this Auburn team out of the bullpen. And then you have your veterans, a guy like John Armstrong, who, I mean, is the perfect, try to put a fire out type guy for Auburn. Funky delivery, kind of a sidearm, upright sidearm from the right side, not going to overpower. We should all be very familiar with John Armstrong. He's been at Auburn forever. He's finally a senior. And in the wild card, I'll throw it out one more time. We talked about it on a previous show, but that's Dylan Watts. Watts is another guy who they like to extend and can. You saw it Tuesday night. He pitched 3 2/3 to close out the back end of that ball game. Threw 50-some-odd pitches. He would be available potentially on Sunday. So what do I want to see from LSU? Well, here's what I want to see. I want to see LSU attack early. LSU has been great in the first inning. And it's not just scoring. It's also running pitch counts up. If you can run Sam Dutton's pitch count up, if you can run Cade Fisher's pitch count up, Andreas Alvarez, you can run those guys' counts up, you can get them out of the game quicker and force Auburn's hand. Maybe the game isn't necessarily where Auburn wants it to be at that point from a score or just a pitching setup standpoint. Again, they use everyone, but there's a select few guys that they trust more, and we just went through them. I want to see LSU force those guys into the game earlier or force Auburn away from that strategy where they can just go from Cam Fisher to Cam Tilley or from Sam Dutton to Carson Myers. Force them away from that and try to get into that bullpen. Try to maybe burn those arms earlier in the weekend because you have a starting pitching advantage from a length standpoint on Saturday and on Sunday. LSU needs to take advantage of that. So, like I said, LSU's been great in the first inning, and it's not just scoring runs. It's also running pitch counts up. Again, Cade Fisher, 75 pitches. Yo, that's a season high. 4 innings. Alvarez, the guy threw 2 2/3 a week ago. I want to make sure I have his pitch count right. 44 pitches. And then they had to go to Graves and Watts, and then they could finally get to Hetzler at the end of the ballgame. Force them into uncomfortable situations on the mound. They have a very unique way they do it, and that's the way they want to operate. Don't allow them to do that. Let's talk about Auburn's lineup. But before we do that, Gotlit Light Installers, gotlitlights.com. Go to gotlitlights.com for your quote. Permanent outdoor landscape lighting, front yard, backyard, home or business. Whether it's your pool area, your patio, or some front flower beds, however you want to illuminate your space, take it to the next level, Gotlit Lights can do that for you. Remember, it's not just the Christmas lights anymore. Temporary outdoor lighting for your private events. Custom design, they cut to fit, they'll come install it, they'll take it down, all of those things. Same as they do with the Christmas lights. They'll maintain it, but this is for weddings, wedding receptions, anniversary party, graduation party, birthday party. Any private event that you're hosting, you need lights for. Gotlit Light Installers, gotlitlights.com. Tell them you heard it right here on Musso at the Box. Follow them on Facebook as well. Okay, Auburn's lineup. This is where I really look at this and go, man, this can create a lot of problems for LSU. LSU, when you look at them on the season on the mound, they strike out a bunch. LSU leads the SEC in strikeouts. They're right up there, around the top of the nation. It is what they do. And we told you, Cade Anderson's second in the league right now, right? I mean, you look at what Casey Evans has done and what Zach Callen done on the bullpen. Like, LSU, strikeouts are the name of their game on the mound. They issue walks. Auburn is the toughest team in the league to strike out. Auburn has struck out just 208 times. I will repeat that number here again as we did at the top of the show. Just 208 strikeouts and 1,104 at-bats. That is really good. And they are the hardest team in the league to strike out. They make you earn all of it. Whether it is on the mound where they don't issue walks or whether it is at the plate where they consistently put the ball in play. It's not always a hit. More often than not it is. They're hitting 304 as a club. That number dips a little bit in SEC play as you would expect, but again, so does LSU's. LSU strikes are never going to be more important than in this series because Auburn is content to take walks. They will take their walks. They will put the ball in play. So the other thing, so what I mean for LSU is let them put the ball in play. Throw strikes. It needs to be a quality strike, but throw strikes and let them get themselves out. Hitting is very difficult. Like that part of the game hasn't changed and probably never will. Hitting is hard. And it's getting harder. You have a great defense behind you. Strikes are going to be paramount for LSU against that lineup. As you might expect, Auburn is fantastic at manufacturing runs, like teams who don't strike out normally are. They're right up there, top 5 in sacrifice flies in the SEC. They take what the pitcher gives them. So for LSU, don't give them anything. And you can get them out. And it's not to say they don't have off nights where they will chase and strike out. Like that does happen. But this is a pretty large sample size up to this point, 33 games, and that's where they sit. Strikes are extremely important for LSU this weekend. Fill it up. The other interesting thing about Auburn's lineup, I really like this lineup. I think it is probably the best or top 2 lineups that LSU has faced up to the point in this season. And that kind of just continues throughout SEC play, right? But they have a great mix of veterans and youth. We know about the veterans. We know about Ike Irish, right? I don't really need to go deep into Ike Irish. He was sensational as a freshman. He was great as a sophomore. He's great as a junior. He's hitting 356. He is second on the team in homers. The 356 leads Auburn. He's mashing in SEC play. Like, we understand Ike Irish is awesome. I don't really need to tell you about Cooper McMurray. Cooper McMurray has been a stalwart for Auburn for 3 years now at the in the left-handed batter's box. He's a huge home run hitter. He's going to hit in the cleanup spot for them. Leads the team in homers. Leads the team in RBIs. He's hitting over 340. Like, we understand Cooper McMurray. Then there's the 3 freshmen. And these kids are awesome. I told you, Auburn got a great signing class to campus. In fact, it was number 5 in the nation. They got them all. 2 kids were drafted. Both of them showed up. Other than that, they got them all. And you are seeing immediate impact from 3 guys in the lineup specifically. We talked about Alvarez on the mound. 3 guys in the lineup specifically, and it starts with Chase Fralick. Chase Fralick was a top 115 player in the nation in the class of 2024 coming out of high school. He was the number 2 catcher in the state of Georgia. He was a top 200 overall prospect for the MLB draft. In fact, he was drafted in the 20th round by the Padres. But again, it was just a flyer they were taking, see if they can entice him with some of the bonus pool money. And he ends up on campus. He's a great athlete, and I'll tell you why I believe that. He was also a standout tennis player in high school, ranked as high as the number 3 tennis player in the country, and had over 60 plus Division I offers to play tennis. He chose baseball. It's working out okay for him, but he is extremely athletic for his side. This is a big kid that's going to swing from the left side. He is second on Auburn's team in batting average at 345. The power hasn't necessarily come yet, just the 3 homers. But the 27 RBI are 3rd on this team. He has been awesome. Awesome as a freshman. Hit 555 a week ago against Alabama. Fralick has been a hell of an addition as a young man, as a young player into that Auburn lineup. Next, you have number 2, Chris Rimbert. Rimbert will hit in the leadoff spot a lot for Auburn. They'll also move him down a little bit. Right-handed bat, top 130 overall player in the country in the class of 2024, the number 4 shortstop in the state of Florida. That's loud. Florida's got some great high school baseball. LSU knows that. They've taken plenty of players out of there. And he was a top 300 prospect in the MLB draft. Ends up at campus. Wasn't drafted, had a number, ends up on campus. He's another guy that is hitting 305 for Auburn. Again, as we said, a lot out of that leadoff spot. 463 is the on-base percentage. That is third on Auburn's team. He's got a little bit of pop in the bat, not going to blow you away. What he does well, though, is move around the bases. They don't steal him a lot, but when they have, he's been successful. He's been caught just one time stealing. And then there's Bub Terrell, left fielder for Auburn, top 130 player overall in the country, number 1 outfielder in the state of Alabama. He was a top 100 draft prospect by Perfect Game, top 150 draft prospect by MLB.com. He was drafted by the Blue Jays in the 19th round. Again, just take a flyer. Ends up on campus. Baseball America ranked him the number 12 high school player to make it to campus. Bub Terrell has been awesome for Auburn so far as well. Another one hitting just over 300 as a freshman. Again, you've seen a little bit of pop in the bat with the 4 homers. But overall, he's just been solid. He'll hit a little bit more towards the middle, bottom of the lineup. Sometimes they'll move up into that 2-hole. You just kind of have to keep an eye on where he is. They'll move him around a lot. But those 3 guys in the lineup are ones that I really wanted to focus in on because, again, we know Ike Irish. We know Cooper McMurray, right? We've seen those guys at Auburn for plenty. They also went into the transfer portal, got Derek Fabian from Florida. He's doing quite well and playing shortstop. So this is a deep and lengthy, formidable Auburn lineup that has a great mix and has elite plate discipline. Strikes are going to be key for LSU. Couple more things. We look at this series, and I've told you, obviously strikes key for LSU. Get the starting pitchers out of the game early. Get into that Auburn bullpen to disrupt their rhythm of how they want to use things, of how they want to do things, I should say. The other thing for LSU is going to be play great defense. On the road, in what I'm expecting to be a pretty hostile environment on the Plains, defense will be key. And LSU in SEC play is fielding over 980. They've been awesome. Really, a bulk of LSU's errors this season have come from their pitchers, not the fielders in the outfielder, infielder, or at the catching spot. So I feel pretty good about LSU doing that. But that's where I'll kind of bring in the ballpark again, too. It's an odd place to play. It's going to be really important for LSU on Thursday when they get in to have a good practice over there at Auburn, or Friday. They might practice Friday during the day. I'm not sure. But it'll probably be Thursday night. To have a good practice there and familiarize themselves with that ballpark because it's funky. But this is a series where I'm expecting a lot of balls put in play. LSU's going to have to pick it up, catch it, throw it to the right base, get the guys out. You create errors. You commit errors, I should say, on the road. You create atmosphere. And they've done some nice renovations to Plainsman Park. And again, I'm expecting it to be packed out and hostile. Much more than what you saw a week ago in Norman, where that was basically like playing at Missouri. Defense is kind of my hidden thing in this series. Who wins? It is really hard for me to not pick LSU in this series because of the perceived advantages they have on the mound. But it's also hard for me to not pick Auburn because this spot, I don't love the spot for LSU. It's the last little bit of the road trip. And you're facing a really good team that's hot and is great in close games. And at home, close games can go the way of the home team more often than not. You get the last at bat, you have the crowd, momentum, all of those things. There are obstacles in LSU's way this weekend. I don't love the fact that LSU has struggled to throw strikes consistently at points facing that Auburn lineup. I think Auburn gets it done this weekend against LSU. I really do. I hate that pick. I hate having to make that pick. I won't be surprised. Let me be clear. I won't be surprised if LSU goes there and wins the series. But the spot and other factors with Auburn's offense lead me to believe that they can win 2 out of 3 at home against LSU. I like LSU to get a game. If LSU wins Friday night behind Cade Anderson, which they have a great chance to do, the series shifts in their favor. But then again, we saw LSU win behind Anderson on Friday night in Texas and lose that weekend. The starting pitching advantage lies with LSU 100%. Auburn has a few more guys they trust in their bullpen. I shouldn't say that. Auburn has a few more guys who are proven in their bullpen to this point than LSU does. And I like that offense playing in their home ballpark. I'll take Auburn to win 2 out of 3. And I really hope I'm wrong. And come Saturday night when we're doing a live stream, I can just celebrate and y'all can all laugh at me for being wrong. But that's my official pick going into this weekend, LSU and Auburn. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Y'all smash the like button on the way out. Get subscribed, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app. Follow me on social media. Go to gotlitlights.com, work with Derek and his team, and be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.